The storm raged. Waves crashed against the lighthouse with the force of 1,000 charging elephants. The wind howled like a banshee. Rain lashed down, blurring the line between sea and sky. Inside the lighthouse, Elias felt the tremors. He stood unfazed. This was his domain. Elias had weathered countless storms. He knew the sea's fury. He respected its raw power. Tonight it was a wild beast, unleashed and untamed. Yet within the storm's heart, Elias found a strange beauty. It was a reminder of nature's awe-inspiring force. The roar of the wind was deafening. Elias climbed the spiral staircase. Each step was a familiar rhythm. His hand brushed against the cold, damp stone. This lighthouse was his companion. It had been his home for many years. As he reached the top, the lantern room awaited. It was his sanctuary, bathed in a warm, comforting glow. Amidst the chaos outside, Elias found solace in the steady beam of light emanating from the lantern. This was his purpose: to guide, to protect, to be a beacon in the storm. The lamp room was Elias's haven. It was meticulously kept. Every lens was polished to a gleam. Every surface shone. The air smelled of salt and oil. It was a smell Elias had come to associate with home. He moved with practiced ease, his weathered hands adjusting the lantern's mechanism. Years of experience had taught him every sound. He could anticipate every need. The rhythmic hum of the lantern was a lullaby. It soothed his soul. The storm outside seemed distant now. Elias was lost in his routine. He meticulously cleaned the lenses. Each wipe was a ritual. It kept the light shining bright, cutting through the darkness. His world shrank to the confines of this room. It was his universe. As he worked, his mind often wandered. He thought of his life before the lighthouse. The city noises seemed a lifetime ago. He remembered the constant clamor. He recalled the suffocating crowds. Here, he was alone, yet strangely content. Some might call it loneliness, this life he lived. Elias knew better. He chose solitude. He embraced it. It was a balm to his weary soul. Years at sea had taught him the value of his own company. He had seen the worst of humanity. He had witnessed greed and treachery. On land, people were like ships in a storm, colliding, sinking, desperate for safe harbor. Here in his lighthouse, he had found his peace. The sea was his companion, the wind, his confidant. He relished the quiet routine. He found solace in the simple act of being. He read his books. He listened to the waves crashing against the rocks. He watched the sun rise and set, painting the sky in vibrant hues. Each day was a gift. It was a tapestry woven with the threads of solitude. But life, like the sea, is full of surprises. It has a way of disrupting even the most established routines. And so it was for Elias, when the storm brought an unexpected visitor to his isolated world. He had grown accustomed to the rhythm of the waves, the whisper of the wind. He was not prepared for the frantic pounding on the lighthouse door. The insistent banging echoed through the lighthouse. It was an alien sound in his normally peaceful domain. Elias descended the stairs, his heart pounding with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. Who would dare venture out on a night like this? He flung open the heavy door. A gust of wind and rain swept in, almost knocking him off his feet. Standing on his doorstep was a young woman drenched to the bone, her face a mask of anxiety. She looked about, ready to collapse. "Help me!" she gasped, her voice barely audible above the roar of the storm. "Please, my boat, it's gone!" Clara, as she later introduced herself, was a whirlwind of energy. She was everything Elias was not. Impulsive, talkative, and full of a zest for life. Her arrival shattered the tranquility he had carefully cultivated. Her presence was jarring. She was a vibrant splash of color in his world of muted tones. Her laughter echoed through the once silent halls of the lighthouse. She spoke of things he had almost forgotten: the bustle of city life, the thrill of a new adventure, the pain of a lost love. Initially, Elias found Clara's constant chatter and boundless energy overwhelming. Her presence was a stark contrast to his solitary existence. She in turn seemed bewildered by his quiet ways, his love for routine, and his contentment in his own company. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, a strange thing happened. They found themselves drawn together, their differences becoming a source of amusement rather than annoyance. Clara was fascinated by Elias's stories of the sea. He, in turn, was captivated by her tales of the world beyond the lighthouse. He taught her about the stars, their names, and the stories they held. She, in turn, shared her love for music, filling the lighthouse with melodies that had been absent for far too long. They argued about books, debated philosophies, and challenged each other's perspectives. Elias found himself looking forward to their evenings together. He found a certain charm in her chaotic energy. She in turn began to appreciate the calmness he exuded, the wisdom he shared in his few, carefully chosen words. Clara's arrival disrupted Elias's carefully ordered life. She brought with her the chaos of the outside world. She challenged his solitary existence. Yet, to his surprise, he found himself embracing the change. She had a knack for finding things that needed doing. She reorganized his pantry. She insisted on adding more color to his living space. She even convinced him to let his beard grow a bit wilder, just to shake things up. For the first time in years, Elias found himself laughing freely. He shared stories he had long forgotten. He listened with a newfound patience as Clara spoke of her dreams, her fears, her hopes for the future. He learned that she was a writer, searching for inspiration. He realized that perhaps she had found it here, in the most unexpected of places. Clara, in turn, discovered a different side to the gruff lighthouse keeper. She saw the kindness beneath his rough exterior. She witnessed the depth of his loneliness and the strength of his spirit. As the days melted into weeks, Elias found himself dreading the day Clara would leave. He knew her stay was temporary. She would need to return to her world eventually. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, he voiced his thoughts. "The sea," he said, "it teaches you many things. It teaches you to be strong, to weather the storms, but it also teaches you that nothing lasts forever." Clara nodded, her eyes reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. "The sea also teaches you about connection," she said softly. "Even though the waves may separate, the ocean remains as one." Her words struck a chord within Elias. He realized that their connection, though born out of circumstance, ran deeper than he had imagined. They had shared something special during their time together, a bond forged in solitude, strengthened by their shared experiences. He understood that sometimes, the greatest connections are not meant to last forever. Sometimes they leave an imprint on your soul, a reminder that even in the vastness of the world, human connection is a precious and powerful thing. The day of Clara's departure dawned bright and clear. The sea, as if mirroring Elias's emotions, was calm and serene. He watched as she climbed aboard the rescue boat, her face a mixture of sadness and gratitude. "Thank you," she mouthed, her voice lost to the wind, "for everything." Elias simply nodded, unable to trust his voice. As the boat disappeared over the horizon, he felt a pang of loss. The lighthouse seemed strangely empty without her vibrant presence. The silence was deafening. He retreated to his lamp room, seeking solace in his routine. As he polished the lenses, he noticed a small, leather-bound book tucked behind one of the lanterns. It was Clara's journal. He opened it hesitantly, his fingers tracing the words she had written. Her journal entries were filled with her experiences at the lighthouse, her initial fear, her growing fascination with Elias and his solitary life, her musings on the sea and the lessons it held. Elias sat by the window, Clara's journal in his hand, and read late into the night. He read about her dreams, her insecurities, her hopes for the future. He read about the impact he had unknowingly had on her life, the wisdom he had shared, the strength he had inspired in her. Tears welled up in his eyes as he finished the last page. He realized that their connection had been a two-way street. He had given her something, just as she had given him a renewed sense of purpose, a reminder that even in solitude, one is never truly alone. He closed the journal, a single tear rolling down his cheek. He walked to the window and looked out at the vast expanse of the sea. The storm had passed, leaving behind a sky glittering with stars. He realized that life, like the sea, was constantly ebbing and flowing, bringing moments of joy and sorrow, connection and solitude. He was no longer the same man who had opened his door to a stranger during a raging storm. He was still Elias, the lighthouse keeper, but he carried within him the echoes of Clara's laughter, the warmth of her companionship, and the profound understanding that even in the depths of solitude, human connection could illuminate the darkest of nights. And in that realization, he found a profound and lasting peace.